The Art of Doing Nothing, Rediscovering Stillness in a World That Won't Stop. There's a peculiar tension in modern life, a quiet, ever-present hum that nags at the edges of our peace. It's the feeling of needing to be somewhere, do something, accomplish more. We've been conditioned to equate stillness with laziness, boredom with failure, and doing nothing as the enemy of productivity. Yet, in the ancient rhythms of life, there was a space, a sacred gap, where nothingness wasn't feared but honored. To do nothing was to be in touch with the world. We have forgotten how to stop. But maybe we can remember part I, the culture of constant motion. We live in a culture obsessed with momentum. What's next is the unspoken mantra. Our days are built around optimization, productivity hacks, time blocking, to-do lists, goal setting. There's an entire genre of books, podcasts, and apps dedicated to helping us squeeze more out of every minute. The irony, we're exhausted. And often, deeply disconnected from ourselves, from the people around us, and from the moment we're actually in. We don't need more tools to be efficient. We need permission to slow down. We often forget that just because something is happening doesn't mean it's meaningful. Just because you're busy doesn't mean you're alive. And just because you're constantly doing doesn't mean you're actually being. The average person checks their phone over 100 times per day. We fill silence with scrolling, waiting with checking, and boredom with endless content. There's little space left for stillness. And here's the hidden cost. In constantly reacting, we lose the capacity to reflect. Part II, the ancient art of nothingness. Historically, doing nothing wasn't something to be ashamed of, it was woven into the fabric of life. In ancient Greece, the word skele meant both leisure and learning. The idea was that free, unstructured time was necessary for philosophy, contemplation, and deep thought. Leisure wasn't idleness, it was the fertile soil where insight grew. In Taoism, the principle of Wu Wei, often translated as non-action or effortless action, encourages us to align with the natural flow of life, to move without forcing, to be like water. Indigenous cultures across the world have always honored cycles of rest, ceremony, and deep listening, not as exceptions to life but as essential parts of it. Even major religious traditions include periods of quiet, withdrawal, or Sabbath, the Christian practice of silent prayer or retreat, the Jewish Shabbat, a full day of rest, the Islamic concept of tawakkul, or placing trust and surrender in the divine, the Buddhist practice of sitting, not to achieve but to awaken. It's only in the modern world that we've lost this rhythm, replacing depth with speed and presence with urgency. Part III, the fear beneath the noise. When most people attempt to do nothing, they feel uncomfortable, uneasy, even anxious. This isn't just because we're used to being busy. It's because, beneath all the noise, there's something we don't want to feel. Stillness strips away the distractions and asks us to face ourselves. When the emails are done and the notifications go quiet, you might suddenly hear the ache of loneliness, the echo of old grief, the background hum of dissatisfaction or restlessness. We fill our days to avoid these things, not consciously but effectively. Doing nothing isn't hard because it's boring. It's hard because it's honest. But here's the beautiful twist. When we stop running, stop numbing, stop filling every second, we find something beneath all that fear. A deeper kind of peace. One that doesn't need noise to validate its existence. Part IV. Boredom as portal. Let's talk about boredom, the dreaded modern demon. We've been taught to see boredom as the absence of stimulation. But what if it's actually a doorway? When you allow boredom, not just tolerate it, but genuinely sit with it, something begins to shift. Children know this instinctively. When kids get bored and aren't given a device, their imaginations activate. The couch becomes a castle. A cardboard box becomes a spaceship. Creativity lives on the other side of boredom. Albert Einstein famously said, "Creativity is the residue of time wasted." He wasn't joking. His theory of relativity came, in part, from staring out the window, imagining what it would be like to ride alongside a beam of light. So much of our inner world is only accessible through emptiness. You have to get bored to get deep. Part V, the body's response to stillness. When you begin to practice doing nothing, your body doesn't always react with calm. It might resist, twitch, fidget, even panic a little. We're not just psychologically overstimulated, we're physiologically addicted to motion. But here's something wild. When you allow yourself to stop, your nervous system begins to recalibrate, your breath slows, cortisol levels drop, your heart rate finds a rhythm, your body begins to repair. This isn't just spiritual, it's scientific. Rest activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for healing, digestion, recovery. You literally can't heal if you're always rushing. Doing nothing is how the body whispers, "I'm safe." Part VI. The productivity trap. Here's a trap we fall into. Using rest to recharge only so we can do more later, we meditate to be sharper at work. Nap to improve focus. Do yoga to be more productive. Turn even self-care into a tool for hustle. What if we let go of the idea that every moment needs to serve a future goal? What if you didn't rest in order to be productive? What if rest itself was worthy? There's a kind of dignity in choosing not to grind. Not because you're weak, but because you're whole. You are not a machine. You don't need to earn every breath. Part VII, digital stillness, reclaiming your mind. We live in the attention economy. That's not just a metaphor, it's a business model. Your attention is being bought, sold, and mined. Infinite scrolls. Algorithmic dopamine. Notifications. These aren't neutral tools. They're designed to keep you from ever being alone with your own mind. Taking back your attention is an act of rebellion. Try this: delete one app that always sucks you in. Turn off all non-human notifications. You don't need to know every time a robot posts an update. Schedule white space, literal empty blocks in your calendar where you do nothing on purpose. Observe your cravings to check your phone like a scientist. No judgment, just curiosity. You don't have to go full minimalist. Just take one step toward digital stillness. Notice what returns to you in the silence. Part VII, the practice of nothing. So how do you actually do nothing? You practice gently, without turning it into a project. Here are some ways to begin. 1. Micro moments of stillness. Pause before opening a door. Take 3 deep breaths before answering a message. Wait 5 extra seconds before reacting. 2. Do nothing walks. Leave your phone, don't listen to anything. Walk with no destination. Let your eyes wander. Let your mind unravel. 3. The art of sitting. Literally sit in a chair. No agenda, no book, no stimulation, just sit. Observe what arises in your body and your mind. Watch it pass. 4. Staring out the window seriously. This is not a joke. Let your eyes soften. Watch trees, watch clouds. Let your thoughts drift like weather. 5. The sacred nap. Not to catch up. Not to fix anything. Just because rest is holy. Part IX. When the world speeds up, the world won't slow down for you. The inbox will keep growing. The economy will keep spinning. The algorithm will keep pushing, but you can choose your pace. You can remember that your value is not determined by your speed. You can step off the treadmill, even for a moment, and say, "This is enough." You can remember that rest isn't a luxury, it's a birthright. Part X, the beauty that comes when you let yourself do nothing. Strange and beautiful things begin to happen. You remember dreams you forgot. You start noticing small joys. Your relationships soften. Ideas come when you're not chasing them. You laugh more, not because something was funny, but because life suddenly feels a little more spacious. And the world, the real world, not the digital one, starts to come back into view. You notice the colors again, the textures, the smell of rain. The slowness of dusk. You realize that being alive isn't something you achieve, it's something you notice. Closing thoughts. Stillness is a way home. Doing nothing is not about quitting life. It's about returning to it. It's about peeling away the layers of distraction until you find something softer underneath. A self that is not defined by output or updates. A life that doesn't need to be broadcast to be meaningful. It's about remembering that being is enough. So the next time you're overwhelmed, burnt out, overstimulated, don't reach for more. Reach for less. Sit, breathe, look out the window, do nothing. Not because you have to, but because you can.